explosion. So it happens in coal mines. It happens in coal mines that the coal dust is a hazard for the coal mining operations. So coal dust explosion can create a lot of problem in the mines in the form of a hazard. So let us see how this coal dust explosion is explained here in these slides. So the dust combustion characteristics, coal dust combustion characteristics, pressure piling, primary and secondary explosions and hybrid mixtures, dust explosion protection plans. So the dust combustion characteristics, definition of a dust, which dust is dangerous and which dust is explosive in nature. A finely divided powdered solid less than 420 micron size, that is the largest particles that will pass through a standard US 40 shape. This is the definition of a dust, a finely divided powdered solid less than 100 micrometer size, which dusts can burn explosively. Materials which, if finely divided and dispersed in the mine air atmosphere, can burn explosively, which include the coal dust, most organic materials like coal dust, many other metals like iron, aluminum, zirconium, titanium, and some non-metals like sulfur, silica, and P2S5. These are also combustible materials. So coal dust explosion can take place in your mines because coal dust is explosive in nature. So the nature of coal dust explosion is generally they are deflagrations. Deflagrations, that is the flame fronts propagate into the unburned cloud at subsonic speeds by a combination of heat and mass transfer. By heat and mass transfer, Tmax is approximately 8 pJ. Given favorable conditions, such as long, large diameter pipework, energetic dusts may detonate. The flame front propagate into the unburned cloud by compression caused by shock waves traveling at or above sonic velocity. Pmax is approximately 20 times P0 but can be higher also. What are the conditions required for a dust explosion to take place? These are the conditions necessary for the dust explosion to take place. A suspension of dust within its flammable range. A suspension of dust within its flammable range. Sufficient air or other oxidizers should be there. An effective ignition source should be there. So for the dust explosion to take place, these are the conditions it should fulfill. There should be a suspension of coal dust particles within its flammable range, sufficient air or other oxidizers should be there, and an effective ignition source should be there. So this is the gigantic coal dust explosion which has taken place in a place. You see the volume of coal dust explosion which has taken place in this picture. So typical coal dust explosion characteristics are large excess of fuel. If vented, forms large fireball. National Fire Protection Agency 68 predicts the diameter D from an enclosure volume V as D is equal to 10 times V to the power 1 by 3, considerably larger than for a methane gas explosion to take place. Also note that the fireball extends upwards and downwards similar distances. This is the fireball. This is the fireball which extends from down to up. This is the fireball. Properties which influence coal dust explosion hazards. Properties which influence coal dust explosion hazards. Minimum ignition energy, flammable limits, deflagration index, KST, maximum explosion pressure, ease of dispersion in the air. So what is minimum ignition energy, MIE? The minimum ignition energy of a coal dust cloud depends on various factors, including its particle size, chemical composition, temperature, moisture in the coal dust, turbulence, oxygen concentration, and test method used. So this is an equipment which is used to measure the minimum ignition energy necessary for the explosion to take place. This equipment is called modified Hartmann apparatus. The modified Hartmann apparatus is used for minimum ignition energy measurements. So how it is done? So this is the filter pipe. Here there is a filter pipe is there, filter paper is there, filter paper is there. Then perspex cylinder, this is the cylinder is there, and here spark electrodes, spark for giving spark electrodes are here. Then this is the solenoid valves. These are the solenoid valves, and this is the compressed air compressor machine, compressed air reservoir, and a spark generator and timing system. Okay, from here the air is going, and here deflector is there, powder sample is kept here, one-way valve is there. So whenever you want to conduct this experiment, so you have to have this compressor machine, air compressor, and spark generator, and the powder sample, coal dust powder sample. This is the one-way valve. So this air will move to this place, and there is a deflector which will spread the dust, and when it comes in contact with oxygen, so explosion, when spark is there, explosion will take place. And here you can measure how much minimum ignition energy is necessary for the coal dust explosion to take place. So this machine apparatus is called modified Hartmann apparatus. So the minimum ignition energy depends on effects of particle size. In general, coal dust with particle size above 400 microns will not ignite. If the coal dust particles size is more than 400 micron, it will not ignite. If the particles are greater than 0.4 millimeter diameter, dust explosions will not occur. If the particles are greater than 0.4 millimeter diameter in size, dust explosions will not occur. For many dusts, the minimum ignition energy is approximately proportional to the particle diameter cubed. So this is the graph effect of particle size. Minimum ignition energy in millijoule is plotted on the y-axis, and median value micrometer size of dust is plotted on the x-axis. So as the particle size is increasing from 20 micron to 250 micron, so the minimum ignition energy also increases. So at 25 micron size coal dust, minimum ignition energy is 10 millijoule. But at 250 micron size dust particles, the minimum ignition energy necessary is 10 to the power more than 10 to the power 3 millijoule. So as the particle size increases, the minimum ignition energy also increases. Then effect of temperature on minimum ignition energy. Ambient temperature, lycopodium minimum ignition energy is 90 millijoule. For a temperature of 50 degrees centigrade, it is 50 millijoule. For 90 degrees centigrade, it is 20 millijoule. For 180 degrees centigrade, it is 12.5 millijoule. So if you see it, as the temperature is increasing, the minimum ignition energy is decreasing from this table. So this is the minimum ignition energy, and this is the temperature. As the temperature is increasing from 50, 100, 150, 200, the ignition energy, minimum ignition energy is decreasing. This is the effect of temperature on minimum ignition energy. Then effect of moisture on minimum ignition energy. Increasing moisture. If you increase the moisture, increases the minimum ignition energy value. Reduces the explosion severity. Reduces the explosion severity. dP by dt is marked. Inhibits dispersion of the dust. Okay, so the moisture, effect of moisture on minimum ignition energy. Okay, this side y-axis minimum ignition energy, x-axis moisture content. As the moisture content increases from 5% to 10%, 15%, 20%, moisture, the minimum ignition energy also increases. Then effect of turbulence, minimum ignition energy, effect of turbulence. Turbulence increases the heat losses from the ignition source. Consequently, the minimum ignition energy for a coal dust cloud typically increases with increasing turbulence. Then oxygen concentration, minimum ignition energy relationship with the oxygen concentration. Most coal dusts will not burn if the air pressure is reduced below 50 millibar. Reducing the oxygen concentration in the air increases the energy required for ignition. Most organic materials like coal dust cease to be ignitable in the range of 9 to 14% oxygen. The minimum ignition energy reduces if the oxygen concentration in the mine air is increased above 21%. The minimum ignition energy testing is done as per the ASTM standard. The ASTM standard for minimum ignition energy measurements of coal dust suggests three different electrical circuits and permits some latitude in the choice of electrodes. This can result in significant variability between test laboratories. ASTM E2019 calibration dose material is and allowable minimum ignition energy range. So here the coal, Pittsburgh coal, the allowable minimum ignition energy for the Pittsburgh coal is 30 to 140 millijoule. Then we have discussed flammable limits. Lower flammable limit, upper flammable limit. You have to measure the lower flammable limit and upper flammable limits of the coal dust. ASTM standard E151598 provides the test method for the lower flammable limits of coal dusts using a 20-liter or greater spherical test vessels. Many dusts must be at their stoichiometric concentration or higher for an explosion to occur, and optimum concentrations can be 2 to 3 times the CST. As a guideline, dust clouds are their LFL are dense and typically a 25 watt light would not be seen to 6 feet. Then upper flammable limits. Dust clouds have upper flammable limits which are dependent on both the composition and the particle size of the dust. For example, a narrow size fraction corn starch with a particle distribution of 106 to 125 micron size is reported to have an upper flammable limit of 800 to 1000 grams per cubic meter. As dust cloud settles, it will enter the explosive range. Also, dust layers can smolder. Then there is another term index which is called a deflagration index, KST, deflagration index, KST. The deflagration index, KST, is used to quantify the explosion violence for a specific dust and is needed when specifying explosion relief bands. Numerically, the KST is the maximum rate of pressure rise for a deflagration of an optimum dust for air mixture in a 1 cubic meter spherical vessel at an established level of turbulence and ignition energy. Pressure versus time history for a contained dust deflagration. This side y-axis pressure, x-axis time. So this is the graph you are getting. So dP by dt here you are getting. So deflagration index KST for a specific dust, the maximum rate of pressure rise in vessels of different volumes can be predicted by the cubic law. dP by dt marks V to the power 1/3 is a constant which is called your KST, deflagration index. So your deflagration index is equal to dP by dt into V to the power 1/3. So this rule has been shown to be effective for vessels of 20 liters and greater. Hence, testing is normally conducted in 20-liter vessels. This is the 20-liter test vessel where this experiment is conducted. Variables which influence the deflagration index. Factors which influence the deflagration index include but not limited to chemical properties of dust and oxidizer, dust particle size and shape, and turbulence. So this deflagration index also depends on combustion occurs at the surface of the dust. Consequently, the rate of combustion, that is the explosion violence, is normally a function of its specific surface area, meter square by gram. For convenience, particle size mesh is used to categorize the dust. However, this neglects the shape of the particles. Deflagration index. Dust combustion rate is determined by devolatilization rate, gas phase mixing rate, gas combustion rate. As long as age limiting, reducing particle size will increase the combustion rate. KST and P marks effects of particle size and shape. Decreasing particle size increases KST, and to a lesser degree increases the explosion pressure Pmax. In general, dusts with particle size above 400 microns will not form combustible clouds. For most organic dusts, the explosion pressure and the rate of pressure rise tend to plateau at 10 to 40 micron size. So effect of particle size and Pmax and dP by dt is depicted in this graph. Then what is the implication of particle size? Large particles in dust clouds drop out rapidly. Consequently, a small fraction of fines can determine explosion properties. Unless specified otherwise, testing is typically conducted on material through 200 mesh. For many materials, this is not the worst possible case. Turbulence. Turbulence plays a primary role in deciding the rate with which a given dust cloud will burn. What is turbulence? Test equipment for measuring KST is calibrated by adjusting the ignition delay. For a given dust, reducing the ignition delay increases the level of turbulence and the KST reading. In pipework and elongated vessels, turbulence caused by the expanding products of combustion enhances the explosion severity. There are two types of explosions are there. One is called primary explosion, secondary explosion. In order for a dust explosion to occur, it is necessary for the dust to be in suspension and within its flammable range. In order for a dust explosion to occur, it is necessary for the dust particles to be in suspension, suspended particles, and within its flammable range. A unique characteristic of dusts is their potential to accumulate on surfaces and then to be resuspended. A strong air movement or shock wave is necessary to keep the dust particles suspended. Primary and secondary explosions. If a small dust explosion occurs in an area where there is dust, a secondary explosion may occur, which could be significantly more severe than the primary event. As little as 1 by 32 inch of dust layer is sufficient to cause this, and the mechanism has historically been responsible for explosions propagating between interconnected districts, equipments, etc. So here you see example of primary and secondary dust explosion. So additives blending room. So this is the dust layer. This is the dust layer. So this is the dust layer. After primary dust explosion, this is the primary dust explosion, and it will spread to the false ceiling and to the dust, and secondary explosion is going to take place. Okay, so uh, this is the necessary thing for the explosion to take place. So this explosion uh, can be studied through this cause analysis and how to control the dust explosion. How to control the dust explosion. So the dust status, layer of dust, cloud of dust. A layer of dust is converted to a cloud of dust. Then this layer of dust can catch fire and shock waves will transmit to the second and first explosion. So explosion takes place as an ignition source. Fire is an ignition source. After that, this second explosion is going to take place. Cause conditions, dust layer is the fire ignition source, oxygen, dust, cloud, explosion, ignition source is going to take place. Then preventive measures, you can take cleaning of the dust, ignition source removal, then ignition control, cleaning, explosion, and confinement. So protective measures, the means dust status, consequent cause conditions, preventive measures, protective measures. Then isolation, flow control, and explosion pressure resistant construction, explosion isolation, explosion venting, automatic explosion suppression. So this is the cause analysis and controlling the dust explosion. So this dust explosion is a major menace in your coal mining operations. So these coal dust explosions we have seen in greater detail, and we have understood that uh, the particle size is very important for the coal dust explosion to take place. Okay, so this coal dust explosion uh, we have discussed coal mine explosion, we have discussed the uh, underground coal mine hazards, safety, fire, spontaneous combustion, uh, and many other things with respect to your mine hazard class. And this dust explosion prevention, also we have seen dust explosion prevention, also we have seen uh, in the last class, dust explosion prevention. Last class we have seen. So this is the topic, very interesting to all of you. Dust explosion, methane explosion, coal mine fire. So two major topics we have discussed. One is coal mine fire, spontaneous combustion of coal, and the methane explosion and coal dust explosion we have covered. Let us see. And for the coal dust explosion to contain, we have also discussed the stone dust. Advances in stone dusting also we have discussed. Okay. And layer protection, 3-layer protection of coal dust explosion. Also we have seen 3-layer protection of coal dust explosion. Your first layer is the required conditions to induce explosion were considered in this layer, such as dust concentration, oxygen concentration, ignition source, and so on. The explosion pressure resistant construction was also included in this layer. Second layer, if an exception occurred in the first layer, automatic explosion suppression will be employed to further decrease the dust or oxygen concentration so that the flame propagation could be resisted. There is a third layer protection if the exceptions in the first two layers happen at the same time. Explosion venting system should be introduced to reduce the consequence of dust explosion, and explosion isolation system should also be considered to mitigate the situation from dust explosion. This also we have discussed. This explosion prevention also we have discussed. Explosion prevention also we have discussed. We have also discussed mine fire. This mine fire also we have discussed. And this carbon monoxide oxygen ratio, also these problems also we have seen. So all these things will be coming in your mid-semester examination. Tomorrow we'll have some more discussion on this coal dust explosion, methane explosion. Okay. So this is all about today's class. We'll have tomorrow at 1:15 one class will be there on the topic of explosion, which will come in your mid-semester examination. So till now, what we have discussed, those things are going to come in this mid-semester examination. Your mid-semester examination is going to start from 21st October. So whatever is taught, whatever will be taught by tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the last class before the mid-semester. Before mid-semester, tomorrow will be another class. So whatever will be taught till tomorrow, that will come in your mid-semester examination. Questions are of 30 marks, total marks 30 or 60, whatever means total marks will be 60. So that will be converted to half 30. Mid-semester examination is 30 marks. So the topics which I have covered will come in the mid-semester examination are underground mine fire, underground mine hazards and safety, coal seam fire and spontaneous heating, spontaneous combustion of coal, danger due to fire, fire risk assessment, mine fire, carbon monoxide oxygen ratio, carbon dioxide oxygen ratio, methane, stone dust, 3-layer protection of coal dust explosion, explosion and prevention, and the coal mine explosion. So these are the topics you should study for the mid-semester examination. So please do not forget to attend tomorrow's class. Tomorrow's class will be the last class before the mid-semester examination. Tomorrow 1:15 I'll take another class which will be included in your mid-semester examination. So today's class is over. Thank you for your patient hearing, and have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.